At the camera, or are we talking?
We're just talking here. I'm Abe the executive editor of Inside Unmanned Systems. We're here at Xponential, the AUVSI show here in Orlando, and I'm here with Matt Fanelli. And Matt, I'm going to ask you to talk about your title because then we're going to deconstruct it.
Sure thing, Abe. Happy to. I'm Matt Fanelli, the general manager for Skyward, which now sits under Verizon Robotics Business Technology, a new group within the Verizon Strategy and Innovation team.
Right. And when we were talking before, we kind of got into the strategy part of what you guys are doing. And I want to ask you a few things about that if we could. This was kind of described by one of your colleagues as a bit of a coming out party for you guys. So why don't you talk about that?
One of the things that we do in Verizon is we have a relentless focus on the customer problem. And through the years that I've been doing this, and this is my 7th Xponential, we hear what are the customers trying to do. And one of the things that came up over the recent parts of the maturation of the industry is there are problems that can be solved by ground robotics. There are problems that can be continually solved by drones. And in Verizon, that meant how can we bring those things together to solve those customer problems more efficiently so that our customers can do more work.
So why are you here in particular for this one?
I think there's two big things for Verizon. One is we're an ecosystem enabler. We've got the network that backs so many of the innovative technologies out there, but it requires that strong partnership with drone partners, ground robotics partners, other software and end user applications. And we view Verizon Robotics as the place that can bring all of those components together on the customer's behalf to solve those problems.
Right. So we were talking before we started this about what you're hearing and what you're learning. You mentioned that there's a surge in ground vehicles or ground connections, I guess a better word for you. What do you tell us about that and what else you're hearing?
It's very validating to have customers come up to our booth and talk to us about my problem statement. Here are my challenges that I'm trying to solve, and then having the freedom to say, well, I know the best ground robotics solution for you, whether that's a quadruped robot or a large heavy lift drone that can carry a different kind of sensor. I think knowing and pulling together all of those components is one of the things that customers rely on us to do, and it's been an interesting shift at Xponential, seeing much more participation from those ground robotics manufacturers, a lot more understanding from the customers about, I might be able to solve that problem in a way that I hadn't thought before.
And based on your 7-year itch here at Xponential, you said that you felt that there was a certain kind of maturation that you were seeing.
Absolutely. One thing that, and I've seen this from partners, from good friends in the industry, and folks that have been here for a long time, they're not talking about their technology solution. They're talking about customer problems and that pragmatism that's required to solve those problems. I think that represents both the growth and understanding from the customer side and the better focus on solving those actual customer problems rather than promoting a technology. And I think that is representative of just the way that this industry as a whole has matured.
So you told me a fascinating story about a challenge you overcame with the FAA and a waiver, and in connection with a really fascinating project you're doing at the Los Angeles Times. And can you talk about that?
Yeah, there's I think two stories there. One is we've spent a long time innovating with the FAA, whether that was being first to market with the LANCE program, the low altitude authorization and notification capability, it's always a mouthful to say, or some of our work on the various aviation rulemaking committees. We've been partnering with the FAA for years, and one of the things that we did, again, to touch on that partner ecosystem enablement, is we worked with some of the best-in-class drones in the box, experimented for a number of years on the ways that we can add connectivity to those solutions, Verizon connectivity and the software-to-software pieces. And in doing so, we worked closely with some of our customers, our internal Verizon customers, and were able to deploy that system to protect critical infrastructure from a wildfire in 2020. We were able to do that during the pandemic, fully remote, and we're able to work with the FAA to get a special interest waiver to our knowledge, was first of its kind for fully remote, fully autonomous operations to protect a piece of
and the
critical
fire was
infrastructure.
burning, so it had to be quick.
It was, and again, that speaks to when you do that homework ahead of time, when you innovate and you're ready with the right partners. The FAA understands those critical use cases, and I think those special governmental interest waivers are going to continue to be the paradigm on which they use to grant more and more operations.
I don't want to go too far away from Verizon, but I assume you've read the Bivlos ARC report. And,
yes, we were
you're probably
members.
a committee, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, any thoughts about that, or?
I think that there is a lot in there that is very valuable and represents the best that the industry can offer in terms of balancing available technology, the right policy implications. But as we've seen, it's a very complicated topic, and it's going to be interesting to see how the FAA approaches it.
They got 400 pages out of it.
Yeah, a lot of work that went into that.
So this has been great. I'm fascinated by this waiver in the LA Times. What else? Let me ask you this question in a slightly different way. If we came back here next year, what do you think you'd be talking about with Verizon, and what do you think you'd be seeing?
Well, it's a good comment to bring it back to LA Times, which was the other project that we worked on. I think that this gets at why we're here as Verizon Robotic, and some of our taglines that this is robotic automation at scale so that humans can do more work in more interesting ways. And the LA Times is a great example. That they came to us and said, we're interested in truly partnering with you for what can we do for our journalistic teams with various kinds of robotics. And now we're working with them on everything from different ground robotic solutions to drones, training, and bringing sort of upskilling some of the team that they have at the LA Times to do more work. And I think that it's an interesting industry, as you know, in applying new technologies to one of the most important industries in the world.
I mean, journalism was disrupted by so many things. It's interesting to see a tool that's additive for a change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add?
The last thing for us is that Verizon Robotics as a brand, as you said, it's sort of the coming out party. We're here to solve those customer problems and bring the ecosystem together. And I think we're truly seeing that partnership, that deep partnership that really solves customer problems come to fruition. And that's exciting for me in my 7th year. I've been telling everybody all week that this has been a very energizing week already in a way that it feels like we're getting back to normal.
Right. Well, it looks like you had a lot of booth traffic, so I hope the customer solutions will just keep on coming.
Absolutely.
Matt, thanks a lot for doing this.
You bet.
All right.